Hey everybody, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2022 Dodge Durango, we're going to be showing you how to install the DeeZee NXc running boards. But before we get into that, why don't we just take a minute, check these out, and make sure they're going to work for you. Right off the bat, it seems like a lot of people wonder, are these going to work with my particular Durango? And from my understanding, these are going to fit all the different submodels. It'll fit the GT like we have here today, the RT, and everything in between. Really, I can only find one exception, and that is the SRT models. And even then, it sounds like some of them still work. Really, the only thing to look out for, from what I can gather, is if your Durango has the extra ground effects down here, and extra plastic molding, you might run into some issues there with these working. So just kind of a heads up. But aside from that special circumstance, you'll be able to kind of bolt these up and be good to go. With that said, in terms of the aesthetics, I'm usually not super crazy about putting running boards on SUVs, but these really don't look too bad. They don't look out of place, at least in my opinion, or anything like that. And you have a few different varieties to choose from as well. So right here we have the all matte black ones, which is what I like. I think they look a little more modern and up to date. That's just my opinion. But then there's also some that have chrome trim on them, and others that have some stainless trim with black mixed into it. So whatever your style that you think will go up or match your Durango the best, you can go with those. Aside from the aesthetics, functionality is going to be definitely a priority, and these are going to do a couple of different things, make it easier to get in and out. You have a 5-inch, the step is 5 inches wide, so it gives you a little extra platform to make it a little bit easier to hop in and out. And what a lot of people don't think about is these help tremendously with wear and tear on your seat, because it's just kind of natural when you go to get out to sling your legs over, kind of spin on the seat and climb down. Over time, that just destroys your seat corners and really starts to chew them up, especially with a lot of leather seats. So if you make it a habit to kind of deliberately put your foot on the platform first, you can get up and you're not going to chew your seat up nearly as much as you would otherwise. Something else I can see these, really helping out with is roof-mounted accessories, which, they're getting more and more popular on all different types of vehicles nowadays. You're seeing a lot of people use those. Well, on an SUV or bigger vehicles are kind of a pain to have to deal with. So if that's your case, having a running board down here is going to make that a little bit easier. It gives you a step to kind of work off of and be able to get things on top of your roof, or go to take them down even. Compared to some of the other running boards available, they're all pretty similar. I think I would favor these essentially just due to aesthetics. I think they look the best since they kind of sweep in. Some of the other ones are just kind of a little more blocky. That's just my personal taste. These are going to be made from aluminum as well, so you're not going to have to worry about them rotting out or rusting out over time, anything like that. And these little pads here, they are raised up, so help you out with traction. And they're almost like a rubber material, I guess you could say, a hard rubber. So shouldn't get too slick or anything like that, and make it a little bit safer getting in and out of the vehicle. The kit is going to come with custom fit brackets. That way they'll bolt up to your Durango and you won't run into any issues there, which makes installation fairly straightforward. Not really a whole lot to it once you kind of figure out what bracket goes where and everything else. So hopefully we can kind of speed the process up for you a little bit and guide you along as we get them installed ourselves. So why don't we go ahead and get started on them now. To begin our installation, we're going to be here on the side of our vehicle, and we're going to start with the driver's side. First thing we need to do is mount up our brackets. And so we're going to have a bracket here in the front, right here in this area, and then one a little bit closer to the back. So let's go ahead and take a look underneath here in the front. Underneath, if you look at our pinch weld, there's going to be an area that has 2 holes already in it. That's what we're going to be using. So you can take this piece of metal that they give you. It has 2 studs pressed into it. That's going to go through there. And you'll have this support bracket. The holes in it are going to line up with the holes in our bracket. And then on the end of the stud, you're going to take one of these flange nuts and get these started hand tight. Here's how the bracket is going to look once you have it loosely bolted up. We can grab our left front bracket. These are all going to be a little bit different, each position, so check your instructions, the diagram, to make sure you got the right one. You're going to take a big bolt, put it through that, and then there's this piece. And what I'm going to do is just get a few threads started on it. About like that. And if you look, right here in our frame, there's going to be a hole drilled there right from the factory, and so this is going to kind of slide up in there like that. All right, and then by keeping some downward pressure on this, you're able to get this to kind of tighten up almost all the way, I guess you could say. Pull all the slack out of it. And then right here in our bracket, that hole, we want that to line up with the hole in our support bracket. And we want it to go with the bottom hole, so that one there. So, I'll kind of get this in position. Take a bolt, push it through, and take a flange nut on the other side and get it started. Moving on to the back attachment point. It's going to be right here in this area. It's essentially about, I'd say maybe 18 inches or 2 foot towards the front from the beginning of our rear wheel well. What you're going to do is essentially the same exact thing that we did on the front. Put this piece in there, support bracket, and loosely secure it. And then if you look at the bottom of the frame here, we're going to have a hole there. You can take this nut plate, it's a little bit larger, and just very carefully kind of get that going there like that. And you can take our bracket using this hole. You can carefully get this lined up and get it started hand tight. Able to get this started. So with this bracket in place, I realized that this one was just flipped wrong, because at first I had this side of it facing the back. So not a big deal, just took it off, flipped it around. And now the hole in this bracket, we're gonna line it up with the hole in our support bracket, but this time we're gonna use the top one. We'll take our bolt, push it through, and just a flange nut on the other side. At this point, we can grab our running board, and you're going to take these carriage bolts that they give you. So it'll be a total of 4. Went 2 per end. And these are just going to slide into those openings there. So like I said, I got 2 on that side, 2 on this side. And we'll just kind of roughly get them lined up here. Pretty straightforward. We'll go ahead and just set our running board onto the brackets until our bolts pass through. When they come through, you're then going to take a flange nut and get a nut started on all 4 of the bolts, just hand tight for now. Once you have that running board set up there, you can position it how you want, because you can slide it back and forth. I've done that, and usually what I do is just, have it dead center, so I just split the difference on each side and make sure this measurement's the same. But, you can always get it how you want it. And then I like to pull it out as far to me as possible too, because it can slide, you know, in and out this way. I usually just pull it all the way out. That way I know it's the same. So once you have it in position, come back with a 1/2 inch socket, and we're just gonna snug down the bolts that are actually holding the running board on. With the running board set, we can snug up all of our brackets. What I like to do is tighten down the nuts first up here with a 10mm, and then I'll come back and hit these with a 1/2 inch, and then these ones here. So I feel like it kind of just draws everything together a little bit better doing it that way. So that's what we'll do. Once you have the hardware tightened down, you know, check, make sure the running board didn't shift on you, or you're happy with where it's at. If you need to make adjustments, you know, you can loosen it up and do that. But we're good with that side. And once you have that side done, you can simply repeat that same process over here to get this one installed. And that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the DeeZee NXc running boards on our 2022 Dodge Durango.